There are two kinds of people in the world, my friend. Those with a rope around their neck and the people who have the job of doing the cutting. Listen, the neck at the end of the rope is mine. I run the risks.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Two can dig a lot quicker than one.
All right, so now it's time for everyone's favorite segment of the week. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's recap the sports weekend. If you want to be a part of this, call in at 719-1490, 719-1490. Let's start off with my guy, Ali Farhang. Ali, what is your good, bad, and ugly for the weekend?
What is my good, the bad, and the ugly? Well, my good is multi-view watching on a TV. So when I watch the Steelers, I'm focused on the Steelers. I mean, I'm not changing the channel.
Not surprisingly.
Yeah, we all know. Lakers, same thing.
Do you watch like the coach cast when you watch the Steelers?
No, I want to watch the regular
broadcast.
Yes, good question. No,
not watching all 22.
I can't handle it. I can't handle the chit chat. It's like somebody's in there with me. I want somebody just reporting on the game. And then if the Steelers aren't playing, I'll put on Red Zone, right? And if, I watch a baseball game like Yankees, Red Sox last night, I'm watching Yankees, Red Sox. I don't really watch multiple things. Yesterday I did it for really kind of the first time because Arizona baseball was playing North Carolina, and the French Open, which was one of the finest tennis matches I've ever seen in my life, was on, and Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. The French Open was insane. 5 sets. Alcaraz is down. He loses the first 2 sets and comes back to win the last 3 sets in dramatic fashion. And it was back and forth and back and forth. And the greatest thing about the French Open yesterday wasn't that it went 5.5 hours, guys. 5.5 hours of playing tennis at that level. We see Federer has retired. Rafael Nadal has retired. So if you guys don't like tennis, you can just tune me out. I love tennis.
Yeah, I know.
Rafael Nadal retired, right? Djokovic kind of, he's kind of towards the end, the last chapter of his career. Yeah. And it was who's going to be those great players that we're going to enjoy watching. Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz are going to give us some of the best matches in the next 5 or 10 years for us tennis fans. And watching them yesterday, I'm a fan of both guys. The resilience, the absolute determination, the skill, some of the best shot making I've seen in a tennis match. I can't remember how long. It was incredible. And I'm watching Juve baseball at the same time, and I'm like going back and forth. I kind of figured out which position to sit, and I put the sound on the French Open, not Juve baseball, and Juve baseball was better. So my superstitious insanity was at full throttle. And I was like doubly stressed. Like just watching Arizona baseball is like stressing me out, right? Especially like Saturday. Now I'm watching Arizona baseball and this great match, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm just like going back and forth. But it was unbelievable. I felt like I watched 2 just amazing things. So Multiview on my YouTube TV, phenomenal yesterday. I was so spent after Arizona's victory and Carlos Alcaraz winning in 5 sets. I had to take a nap. I literally was absolutely spent. So that was the good. It was just like I felt like I was watching 2 things at just an extremely high level, and I loved it, and I was just enthralled and
tuckered out,
man. Tuckered out
at the Farhang Sportsbook.
Yeah.
I love Multiview, man.
It's again, I'm usually focused on one thing, but I had to watch both, and I didn't want to change the channel back and forth. My bad is maybe it was a good thing the Pac-12 broke up. Maybe people are now starting to figure out that maybe the Pac-12 was a little more competitive than they thought. So the SEC, Big Ten, you always hear like, oh, you got to go through that gauntlet. And of course they get more teams. By the way, 2 teams left out of 13 in the SEC. Now maybe one of them wins. I think it's Arkansas and what's the other team that's still in? LSU. Maybe one of them wins and they're like, see, SEC. I'm like, when you got 13 teams in, man, yeah, you got a better shot of a team getting through and winning it all. But 2 teams in the SEC in Omaha in the Final 8. 3 Pac-12 teams, UCLA, Oregon State, and Arizona. And does that not show you that maybe the Pac-12 was a little bit better, and the strength of schedule that you put on the SEC and the Big Ten, maybe the Pac-12 wasn't that far off? So to me, would those three teams have even been in if they had to play each other in the Pac-12? I don't know, but I think it's very, to me, clear now that in football, in basketball, I know Florida won basketball, but how many teams lost, right? And Florida was taken to the limit by Connecticut and some other schools. But Florida was good. Alabama was good. The 16th team in the SEC that got in the NCAA basketball tournament, maybe not as good. Maybe somebody else should have gotten in. So I'm just and I think this House settlement is going to bring even more parity, because it is kind of a salary cap unless anybody cheats. So, but the SEC would never do that. Never. Oh, never not give it to a church and then it's not reportable to a player's family. That would never happen. So kudos. I mean, yeah. So my bad is that, and by the way, all these D1 baseball, beautiful job by Arizona, University of Arizona Athletics, Arizona baseball. There were 12 guys and D1 baseball. They all chose North Carolina. And then Arizona put an X on the North Carolina, put an Arizona logo on top of it and said, hey, we fixed it for you guys. Do you think maybe those guys are only watching East Coast baseball? Maybe only watching the SEC? So to me, it brings home this baseball tournament that there is a bias. And if you want to be a legitimate reporter of a particular sport, you're going to have to grind it out and watch some West Coast games. I mean, you may have to stay up late, right? But when you only watch one product, of course there's a bias towards it. But D1 baseball, suck it. All you guys, all 12 of you, got it wrong. My ugly is this, man. You guys remember, I loved summer. Last day of school was awesome. Great. Summer's great, right? When you're going through school. And you get through summer and you go on your family vacation. Maybe you go to a camp, you do this, you do that. And then you get to like August and you're like,
football season. Hell yeah.
World Series.
2 more weeks till school starts. My summer's going to be done. And you get that like kind of feeling of like, man, just that I used to call it the Sunday feeling when you work for somebody that you didn't really like your job. It's like, I got to go to work on Monday.
The Sunday scaries?
So yeah, I don't have that anymore because I'm the boss and everybody's scared of me. So they're not. I'm very good. Everybody should be happy. By the way, if you work for me and go, can't wait till Friday. I'm like, yeah, it sucks so bad here. I mean, we can make I could give you every day Saturday. You're not going to get paid, but every day could be Saturday for you.
Like the old school dad, I'll give you something to cry about.
It's a very thoughtless thing to say. It's like, oh my God, I hate Mondays. Yeah, well, I can make every day a weekend for you. Really easy. Just be cognizant of who you're talking to.
What if he said Mondays? Am I right? In a joking way. Is that still
immediately your employment is terminated. Don't do that. And hey, Coke Zero, huh? What? Yeah, I'm drinking a Coke Zero. It says Coke Zero on the can. Get out of my office.
There's important documents in here, Andrew.
Yeah. And he was like, I was going to go in your office. I'm like, you can't do that, dude. It's like, you can't go in my office. I got
all I was going to do is turn everything at a 45-degree angle. That's all I was going to do.
Yeah.
The whole thing and
stay out of my office.
Saran wrap.
Yeah. That's you don't want to get your wife in trouble. But I got that feeling now. I got that feeling of like, oh, the summer's almost over and school's about to start. Because we're about to get into like a dead zone of sports.
Not if you know where to look, baby.
NBA Finals winding down. Stanley Cup, Game 3 tonight.
Yep.
We got mandatory camps in football this week. That'll keep my attention. And then NFL's off in July. Then you get the All-Star break. Not even any baseball for like 5 days. Man, this is like my Sports Jones period of the year, and I feel the same way as I did when there was like a week left before school started again. It's like, so that's my
covered Weird Sports Wednesday.
Yeah, that's my ugly, man. I was watching, and like I told you, I was so happy. I was so freaking happy watching the French Open in Arizona baseball yesterday, and then You stack that with the NBA Finals, and you stack that with Red Sox Yankees. Damn it, Yankees, you got to pitch better. Judge hits 2 home runs, you lose to the Red Sox. But I hate the Red Sox. F Boston. So I was so happy. And to know that joy is going to just be an abyss of nothingness in a couple of weeks.
So dramatic.
I might actually have to do like errands and do stuff, like hang pictures in my house that I still haven't done.
Trust me, man. There are things that are in my house that I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it eventually when I get time. And I've lived in that house for a year now.
Yeah.
Haven't attended to it yet. So I totally feel you.
Can't criticize you. There's yeah. Anyway, so that's my ugly, man. It's here's what we're gonna do on Spears and Ali and all our loyal listeners and friends out there. We're gonna figure out a way to get through it together. I don't know how. I don't have a plan yet, but I have the makings of a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's all I make.
Now we're gonna have maybe some movie reviews, or because we don't have the Olympics to talk about this year.
No.
Last year we had that to discuss, and it'll be Ollie's favorite time of year, list season, watch lists. Maybe we'll talk about some Arizona football updates. I did release my all quarter century team that we will discuss either this week or at some point this summer. We're gonna have to get really creative when we reach that dead zone.
I tell you what, Justin, I was already feeling that pit in my stomach and pretty depressed about it. You definitely just made it worse.
No,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Cool list. By the way, when Justin does an all quarter century team, it's 2025. So that's players between 2000 and 2025. So you say, what about this guy? If he played in 1998, he's not on the all quarter century team.
Yes.
So before you criticize, do a little math.
Yeah, 2025.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that team at some point in the
Cool.
near future. But all right,
Great.
my good, bad, and the ugly. You guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but pineapple upside down cake is one of my favorite desserts of all time.
Is that
Yeah.
your good?
This is going to be an upside down good, bad, and the ugly. I'm going to start off with the ugly. And I want to make this very quick because I know we've already kind of ragged on her a little bit, but it's just bad that she is, quote unquote, one of the faces of the WNBA, and she continues to put up these numbers. Angel Reese officially has more rebounds than points in her career. And now,
No way.
yeah, she's got more rebounds than points in her career. And this is one of the faces of the NBA, of the WNBA.
No,
So
she's
she's-
not.
She wants to be.
She's make her. Yeah.
And so yesterday, and the reason why I bring this up is the Chicago Sky, they played against the Indiana Fever. Remember, Indiana Fever, hey, they got Ari McDonald, former Arizona Wildcat. They don't have Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is dealing with a hamstring injury. She wasn't available. Despite not having Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever won by 30 points.
Yo.
Yeah.
And Angel Reese played, and oh, by the way, she scored 4 points in that game.
Nice. That's
So
a lot for her.
I think, Angel, it's time to...
You know the stat I
it's
want
time
to know?
What's that?
The stat I want to know is how many, if she has 100 rebounds, all right? How many of those 100 rebounds are off her own miss?
That's what I'm saying.
That's the percentage I want to know.
And she's a post player, right? Post players shouldn't be averaging less than 31% from the field. You're close to the basket. It's not like she's chucking up a bunch of 3-pointers.
I'm judging her as a player, not a person.
Exactly.
But
This is all as a player.
when she shoots, it's almost like watching a 10-year-old shoot in a YMCA league game, being like, I hope it goes in. There's like, oh, just throw it up.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway.
According to Andrew, in his research, 35% of her rebounds comes from her own misses.
That's brutal.
That's a brutal stat. Anyways, now time for the bad. The NBA, I appreciate you guys for listening. You heard my gripes. You heard everyone else's complaints about the NBA Finals trophy, the Larry O'Brien trophy not being on the court. And they cited, by the way, the reason why they don't do that decal is for player safety, which, okay, good point. But why is the in-season tournament cup? Why is that decal on the court? You don't really seem to care about player safety in the middle of the season, but all of a sudden in the finals, oh, we can't have the Larry O.B. on the court.
The decal for in-season is less dangerous than the one with Larry O'Brien. It's all in the viscosity of it. Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's just, everybody knows that.
So stupid. So stupid for their excuse. And then they were like, fine, here's the Larry O.B. They gave this little half-ass Microsoft Paint CGI logo that's just super tiny in the corner of the court. I'm like, listen, I appreciate the effort, but it's just not enough, man. I'm sorry.
Such a weird thing to be, again, but you have a history of like being, I don't know, like really weirdly
Stubborn?
mad about things,
Stubborn.
mad about the weirdest things, and other things you just let go.
I just want to feel the aura of the NBA Finals. We're not getting that.
It's called the Indiana Pacers versus Oklahoma City.
It's a great series.
And just watching them play.
It's a great series,
Like,
but it doesn't feel like the finals.
I could care less. Okay.
So that's my bad. My good is we got Father's Day weekend coming up. Ali, you're a proud dad. You have 2 amazing kids. They're doing great in life. And you know who's also really happy about their kids?
Darth Vader.
Is not Darth Vader.
Not wrong.
Yeah.
Ryan Fox's dad. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Ryan Fox, he won the RBC Canadian Open, and he did it in a playoff fashion. They went into 4 playoff holes, and he ended up outlasting Sam Burns. And after Ryan Fox won the event, it come to find out his dad was his caddy over the weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
And his dad is like a greenskeeper, like a grounds crew guy at a golf course. And, you know, he really got emotional when he was interviewed after his son won. He said, you know, I just work on the greens. I'm a greenskeeper. I'm not a caddy. And he was carrying his bag for his son who won his 2nd PGA Tour event, which I think is really cool.
I know, but it was weird when his dad was getting interviewed and Ryan Fox was like, Dad, it's not about you. That's next week. Next week, Dad.
Yeah.
This is not about you. No, I'm just kidding. That's a cool story.
But his dad was the one who introduced him to golf. He didn't actually start pursuing golf seriously until he was like 18 years old. And,
Wow.
and his dad was the one who helped him along the way. And it's just a really cool story. And I say all that to say this. Today is June 9th. And today is a very special day for me as we go into Father's Day weekend, because June 9th was the day that my father, Gerald Spears, who passed away over 6 years ago, decided to make the ultimate sacrifice and get clean from drugs.
Oh, man.
Today is his clean date. On this day in 1993, my dad decided to put himself and his family over his addiction. And he went through the 12-step program, joined Narcotics Anonymous, met a number of great people through that program. It's actually how I was able to be connected to Danny Trejo. My dad's sponsor was a running buddy with Danny Trejo. And they would go to conventions all the time. And Danny Trejo, I have like 6 autographs from Danny Trejo because of my dad's connection to NA. And, you know, there's not a day that goes by where I don't think about my dad. I love my dad so much, and he was there for me every step of the way. He drove me to football practices, basketball practices, took me to tons of sporting events and U of A games. Like, I am not who I am today if it wasn't for my late, great father, Gerald Spears. And, every Father's Day, I'm always thinking about my dad. Every day I'm always thinking about him and just how much he means to me. And to see that moment with Ryan Fox and his dad, it made me think about my dad and all the great moments that we shared together. And I'm just very lucky to have a father. You know, some guys, they don't have that blessing. And I would love to see my dad at my wedding, right? Watching me get married and watching me have kids. Unfortunately, I don't get that luxury, but I was very fortunate to have a relationship with my dad. He laid the foundation, taught me how to be a man. Dad, I wish I was more crafty with my hands. I wish I was able to, fix some drywall and do some other stuff, but I know my dad is very proud of the man that I've become, and I'm just thinking about my dad.
Good, man. And you wouldn't have been born if you hadn't made that decision.
And
right?
that's the thing is, if my dad didn't get clean from drugs, my mom would have left him, and she would have taken my brother and gone back to Germany, would have gone somewhere else. So if it wasn't for my dad getting clean, I would not be here today. So
I really thought you meant that in a much more rudimentary way, but no.
It's actually true.
No, it is.
It's actually true. And his older brother, Josh, is like, Dad, you could have waited like another year.
So, yeah, I love my dad, miss him so much. And shout out to all the great dads out there. We appreciate you guys.